the best time for you to be able to hold your child. Like, is there like any things that like parents should kind of try to remember while going through this process? Because you guys definitely are the experts in these types of situations.
Well, first, they're obviously they're right where they need to be. We're trying to give them the best start we possibly can in every way. And really know that we also want you to be able to hold that baby as much as you can. We really do want the parents to also be comfortable and happy and all of that. But our first priority is what is the best for the baby in that moment, related to whatever is going on with them right at that time.
Yeah, one of one of the things that I remember, because I was nervous. I was so nervous about her coming home, and one of the things that you guys told me, I was like, I do not want to bring home a 4 pound baby. I was like, I am scared to death to bring home a four
Hmm.
pound baby, and Caroline was getting really close to being able to come home, and she was like right at 4 pounds, like on like a Thursday, I think. And we fast forwarded to like a Friday. I forget which day of the week it was. But whenever they went through and they did her final weigh to like come home, I was like, y'all, I don't want to bring home a 4 pound baby. And they're like, well, that's good because she's 4 pounds and 1 ounce. So you're not bringing
Hmm.
home a 4 pound baby. And it's like,
Yeah.
you guys, I mean, y'all are the rock stars. Like, exactly when those babies are supposed to come home. But man, that was so emotional for sure for me. But also for Kylie. I mean, Kylie was, she was feeling better at that point because it had been over a month since she had her. But yeah, it was definitely a wild thing for sure.
Right, right. The other thing, you talk about emotions and everything. I think parents feel overwhelmed and they, sometimes maybe feel guilty too, but parents also need to take care of themselves. It's okay to go home and rest. You don't have to feel like you have to be at that bedside every single minute. That's all right.
That's true.
And the nurses understand that, and we're not judging you for that. It's okay not to be at the hospital every single minute. That's fine. The other thing, sometimes I think parents they feel like they should see the doctor maybe at the same time every single day and get an update from the doctor and talk to the doctor, or I'll hear parents say it's been a while since they've spoken to the doctor. But if you ever want to speak with your baby's doctor, which is in the NICU is called the neonatologist, you can always ask to speak with that doctor. We have someone either there or on call 24 hours a day. So just pass that along to your nurse. Hey, I feel like I haven't talked to the doctor in a little bit, or I've got some specific questions, whatever the case may be. The nurse will also advocate for that and pass that along and make sure the doctor knows. And um, because we can be admitting babies at any time, or maybe having to do procedures on a baby at any time. There's not really a super hard and fast set schedule that doctor's going to be at the bedside, so it's kind of easy not to cross paths with them sometimes if the parents are coming and going and the doctor's coming and going. So just let the nurse know, and they can kind of facilitate a visit. The doctor will come see you when you're at the bedside if you can say, hey, I'm going to be here at this time. If the doctor's not going to be there, they can call you, or they can call you during the evening when you're at home, something like that. So
Yeah.
don't ever feel like, well, this stinks. I haven't seen the doctor. I don't like this place. They're not, nobody's paying attention. We're paying attention.
Oh yeah.
The doctor's paying attention. The doctor's seeing that baby and reviewing the notes the nurses make and talking to the nurses and, whatever other, people may be involved. But it's just that crossing of paths doesn't always happen the way the parents like it to. So definitely speak up. We want to know what you want to know and what you need as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So we want you to have all that information that you need to feel comfortable and to have all your questions answered. So,
Yeah. So this is kind of a side story, but Dr. Parker, he was Caroline's doctor, like the majority of the time. I know that there were like several that were, in and out, but
hmm
I feel like Dr. Parker had her the majority of the time. But it's kind of like you said, he was there a lot of times in the mornings, and of course we were there more in the evenings because we were having to work during the mornings. But one of the things that really took me off guard was Caroline was so nervous about being around guys. She did not like to go to males whatsoever. She was fine with being held by any female. It was not
hmm
that big of a deal. But whenever y'all did like your like little NICU reunion thing that you did one year,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
she was maybe 6 months old or 7 months old. She was kind of getting bigger at that point, and Dr. Parker went over there and he was like, well, hey, Caroline. And as soon as he heard her voice, she went straight to him. And I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
if that doesn't show you that those kids, that they don't recognize different people, like, I don't know
Yep.
what will. So it's like,
Isn't that crazy?
well, and it's like, that, regardless of what you see, that doctor was definitely taking care of her, and just
Yeah.
like you guys were. And she was going to all of you nurses that she had. But then it was like, whenever Dr. Parker came up, I was like, oh, I don't know if she's going to go to you. And, and he's like, well, hey, Caroline. And you could tell that must be how he like greeted her whenever he went up to her, like little bed every single day. And it was just so interesting to see that, like, at 6 months old, she remembered the stuff that
Right.
technically she was supposed to be in the womb,
Yep. Yep.
But,
Definitely there are things going on in those little brains. And again, that's the reason we do some of the things the way we do them. And a nurse practitioner I used to work with, she could have told you exactly how all that works and why that's important and why that baby remembers those things.
yeah,
But yeah, it's pretty neat.
that
pretty
is so
neat.
wild. Yeah. So as far as like strategies go, like what strategies have you seen that work for like parents that are like extremely stressed out, like trying to de-stress those parents that are experiencing deliveries that may result in a NICU stay?
Besides getting the rest, like I said, and taking care of yourself, that's probably number one. But, I realize parents probably have a hard time doing that and feeling like they need to be at the hospital. And one thing you can do is accept help from others. Tell them what you need. Let them make some meals that you can just then heat up when you get home, or, arrange to have meals delivered. It sounds like it's an easy thing, but for you to, I'll just call, I can have meals delivered or whatever. If someone else is taking care of all of that stuff for you, it makes it so nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Just one less thing that you have to think about and deal with. They can take care of your pets. They can take care of your older children. They can transport them here and there rather than you tacking that onto the beginning or end of driving to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's already, it just, as you know, even if you live close by, it's still a trek to go to the hospital, get up to the floor, spend the time you need to spend. Maybe moms are pumping, breast milk and that kind of thing. Like it takes a lot of time and that just adds to your stress as well. Something else, just like if you can develop a routine, maybe I'm going to be at the hospital from 9 to 11 in the morning, and then I'm going to have the afternoon, we'll have our dinner, and then I'll be back from 7 to 10 at night. Or, whatever works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever works for you. Having a routine, certain times of the day that you're going to visit the baby, and taking time to do other things that you need or just want to do. It's okay to do something that you just want to do. You have to just give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace to be away as well and take care of yourself. That's okay. The other thing, and I think parents just get more stressed by this, is please don't rely on Dr. Google.
Amen.
Please don't try to think that your stay is going to be the same as your friend's stay or your cousin's stay or the stay that your previous baby had.
Yeah.
You can't expect for the same thing to happen for you as happened with your friend's stay. And I think a lot of people maybe get information like that, or you can tell sometimes when grandparents are saying, ask about this, find out about that, whatever. The grandparent's not at the bedside all the time and with you. Just talk to your nurses, talk to your doctors, and you guys, just move forward with whatever plan that you come up with in that way. Just trust that we truly want the best for your baby, and we truly want the best for you as well, in experiencing all that you can with your baby.
Yeah. And I would say for the guys that are out there, like, one of the things that, with Caroline, she was born and she had to be born through a C-section. And it's like, if your wife went through a C-section, like, a lot of people think, oh, well, they just took the baby out. And it's like, no, your wife just went through a major surgery.
It's rough.
And Kylie was in some bad shape for, about a month, honestly. But it's like, be there for your wife, because as a dad in that situation, it was tough for me because I was kind of like, okay, I've got my wife who I've said vows to, and I've got my daughter who's in another room that I am supposed to be there for her and protecting her. And it's like, I don't know which one to be with. And you felt like you had to be with both at the same time. And that's impossible. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you guys did, you and Amy for sure, There was, countless other nurses too, but I remember you two, especially at night, y'all both were like, you go and you take care of your wife. We're going to take care of the baby. You come visit the baby, but you go take care of your wife. And I feel like for us, that was probably the best advice that I could have been given, honestly.
Right. And it kind of releases you to like, okay, now someone else has set a plan in place. I didn't have to say it out loud myself. Somebody else has told me to do this. And sometimes that just makes it a little bit easier for you. Did we have cameras where you could see Caroline when she was there?
No, not whenever we were there. No.
So we do now have cameras where each bedside, at each bedside, and you can log in. It's private. So that camera is focused on your baby solely.
That's cool.
So you can log in from your phone, from your laptop, whatever, when you're at home or wherever, and you can at least see, the baby. So that helps a little bit too, I think.
Oh, for sure. Well, and then also kind of like going back to the routine thing, like I'm telling you, like I felt like Caroline was almost like a trained baby whenever she came home, because it was like at like, I forget what it was. I want to say it was like on the 7s or something. Like that kid was ready to eat, and then she would sleep and she would poop at like almost the exact same time every day. And I was like, man, like this cannot be this simple. Like I know we've had a little rather traumatic experience, but like this cannot be this simple. And Kylie's like, trust me, this is not normal. She's like, this is not what normal babies do. But yeah, like, I mean, the way that those routines are established in the NICU, if you keep those, I mean, whenever you come home, it makes your life so much easier, especially whenever you're trying to implement all new things, for sure.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So
and remember that with your well babies, you can do the same thing.
Oh yeah.
It might take a little bit more time, but you can do the same thing. You know. So. Yeah.
That's definitely what we plan to do, because I mean that was, if there was a blessing to come out of the trauma, that was one of the blessings for sure.
Yeah.
So okay, so with like the unexpected nature of the NICU, like what can you tell parents who are experiencing attachment issues? Like I know that Kylie felt like she, that she did have some attachment issues because she wasn't able to be there, and she was always wondering if that was normal. So what can you kind of talk to the parents about with that?
Well, are you saying like attachment issues because of not being able to hold constantly like you would have if she had just gone directly home and all of that thing?
Yes.
So, I mean, we try to let you be attached as we can. Like I said, some babies like Caroline have to be in that little isolette box, and they can only come out periodically, but we want parents to parent as much as they can. And what that looks like from the very beginning, usually no matter what the situation is, you can change that diaper, you can take the temperature, you can hopefully hold that baby while the feeding is, if they're doing a tube feeding, while that feeding is running. Once they progress to having bottles, however frequently that is, we want the parents to be able to be there and give the bottles. And, the reason we do that is to help with the attachment, the bonding. Of course, they're on a schedule. So some parents, if you do end up going back to work then while the baby's still in the NICU or what have you, it can sometimes be hard, but you just need to get there a little bit ahead of time of whatever that baby's feeding schedule is, so you can participate in all those things.
Yeah.
Hopefully stay at least through that feeding. Some babies are allowed to be held even longer than just during that feeding time, and that's really good for them. So we do those things. Also, if you really feel like you're having issues and you want to talk with someone, like we have a social worker there that could, plug you in with some resources. You could even call your regular doctor, or if you have a mental health professional in your life, you could, talk with them. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Well, and I think too, like a lot of parents will just experience that, because it's one of those situations where like a lot of times the mom has went through a rather traumatic experience, and they're having to go through and rest, and they've had this baby growing inside them for however many months it's been, and then it's taken out and put in a different room, and like with Kylie, she was up in that room, golly, I want to say for almost 2 days, I believe, before she could actually come out and go see Caroline for the first time.
Yeah.
And I think that for Kylie, that was like that was a rough experience for sure.
Oh, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. And it was, it's just, it's so varies between, all the different situations, I know. but yeah, it was definitely a rough patch for sure, especially, until we got her home, and then it's like, oh my gosh, she's relying on us now. We don't have